Yo,
What?
what's up? Do I sound cleaner this time? Do you remember?
Yeah, you actually do.
Nice. I sound like a whole human.
I just wanted to share my moment just now. So like working in IT or whatever, I set these standards for myself that I have to be perfect when it comes to technology and get everything right off the bat. And so
Right.
struggling for a minute with this shit. I literally, instead of getting more and more angry, I just stopped and I breathed, and then all of a sudden my mind cleared, and then I was actually able to work through the problem way faster.
What?
Everything just fall clear. Yeah. It was I think that was the little thing called, what is it? Awareness?
Hey, sounds like it to
Hey.
me. You stopped, you checked into the moment by focusing on the breath, you observed the thoughts, and you responded.
Yeah, it's incredible how much breathing helps, just remembering that we need to breathe.
I know, it's like we do it automatically. We feel like we don't need to stop and intentionally do it. It helps a lot. Like
Yeah.
sometimes when I was at work, it would just be like midday at my old job, and I'm just like, I don't want to be here. And I'd be walking in the back room, just starting to drift off, thinking about what time it was, how much time was left, what I have to do. And then I would just be walking like through the back room by myself and literally just go, just breathe out real quick. Remember this moment. I only need energy right now for this moment. I don't need this energy for the rest of my day. And I would just do that one breath and then just proceed.
Right. I really like how you said energy for this moment, because it almost creates this space around the moment, because in all the most of the readings and videos about the now that I have seen is okay, so it's literally just the now. You're taking away time, you're taking away things, and you're supposed to be left with this, which essentially is supposed to be just a formless thing. I don't know, but when you're saying you're giving it energy and you're giving it something, so it's do you get what I'm saying? You're
Yeah,
giving the
yeah,
now
totally.
something so that it creates space around it, and that you have this whole thing of now. Because I don't know, I never thought of it as, I'm giving it all of this energy, I'm giving it myself,
Well, I
you
didn't
know?
even mean it like energy in that sense, like the universe energy. I mean, I get what you're saying though, but I was meaning
Your
more
own
in like,
energy.
have you ever? I just meant like the energy I have as far as like being tired or being, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so have you ever like gone either at the beginning of your workday or after lunch or something and just felt like, oh, I don't
Oh
want
yeah.
it. I have
Every day.
4 hours left. I know all the stuff I have to do. Like I would pull up, I'd sit in my car on lunch, and then I would just literally stare at the building. Like I just don't want to go back in there. And I would always tell myself, you only need energy to take one step. You don't like because if you're not thinking about it, I'll sit there and feel how tired I am right now and feel like I need to work 4 hours worth of my day on that energy alone. And that's not true because I only need this energy to walk into the building. Maybe when I'm in there, I still have that same low energy feeling, but I'm not out of any energy. And then when I see someone and have a little convo with them, I might get a little spark. I'll have a drink of caffeine or I'll eat a snack. And then, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah.
so I would always tell myself I only need energy for right now. And that makes it so much better, even with the drag, because then I'm like, ah, okay, you know what I mean? And then, of course, acceptance, all that shit on top of it. My biggest thing, though, like, this is the best tool for work. It's hard for some people to grasp because they'll just be like, oh no, I have to. I would sit there and be like, I don't want to. And I would tell myself, you don't have to. I don't have to go to work. I could turn around and I can leave. I will lose my job, you know what I mean? Or I'll
Mm-hmm.
take a point, or I don't have to. But if I want the money, security of paying my bills, you know what I mean? Like, then this is what I choose to do. So I would tell myself, I don't have to, I choose to. And man, the power behind that is amazing.
Yeah, I totally feel that. It's like I was talking about at the meeting, external motivation versus internal. When you got an external motivation, like, oh, people say I have to do this and people say I have to do that, so I'm gonna do it and force myself. And then internal, where I want to do this for myself because like you said, I want to make money and I want to have a purpose and whatever.
yeah.
And then you end up choosing to do what's best for you.
Yeah, I don't have to do shit.
Right.
Eat, sleep, and die. That's it.
Yeah.
Like, someone was at work the other day, was just like, oh, I just don't know if I want to do this. I'm like, or they're just like, I just want to go home. I'm like, so go home. I can't. Yes, you can. You just get in your car and you leave. You know what I mean? Like, especially if you have the type of job where you can take a half day. Like, my old job was on a point system. So I could literally just say, I could pay this point and go home. I was at the type of job, like, literally, if I wanted to leave halfway through the day, I wouldn't even have to tell nobody or get permission. I'd just take the point and leave, which
Yeah.
was cool for some, like, extreme circumstances. But man, as as a new recovering addict, boy, did I! Oh, boy, I'd be late. So this is my first, like, 3 months there. My immediate supervisor, who wasn't, like, really bossy like that, she's like, she broke down the whole thing for me. She's like, if you come in up to 9 minutes late, there's no point. At the 10th minute, there's a point. So you have to be here within 9 minutes of your shift. You have to leave within 9 minutes of your shift, and you have to work at least half your day. So she's like, you could literally clock in when you're supposed to clock in, take like a 4 hour lunch, leave when you're supposed to leave, and not get a point. Boy, I took some 3 hour lunches, like, not even playing. It was so bad. I would literally sit in my car for an hour, eat my lunch, and then have that feeling, I don't wanna, and I would just drive home. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, it's really all about like the motive behind everything that all boils down to, like if your motive is just to make money, I mean, obviously you're not going to want to like do it like at your full potential, but if you kind of put in, become more conscious and aware of what you're doing, you can shift the motive to being more than just that. Like, hey, I'm going to work to help out people. Like on my job, we working from home. I could easily just get out of the phone queue, but stay clocked in and nobody would know, which is like what people have been doing because I see in one database system, a bunch of people are logged in, but in the phone queue, there's only like a few people. So math doesn't add up.
right,
And so, but yeah, so I'm thinking like, shit, I could just like get out of the phone queue, but like my motive is I actually want to help people now.
right,
I want to do more, like, and I don't want to screw over my boss. And it's just like, once again, back to awareness, back to being conscious. And yeah.
And really just doing the next right thing and having integrity. Like, and
Right.
that gives you such positive feelings anyway. Like that when I see this, my whole thing was my first few months of recovery, I was very feeling based. So like I needed the energy, I needed the patience. I didn't have that yet. I was very much still highly like reactive to my like feelings. So if I didn't feel like it, I wasn't telling myself, you don't have to, or you only need it for the moment. Like it took me time to realize that. So I would literally just like totally slack. And, I had good work ethic when I was in there. I wasn't taking advantage of the time clock. I was just more like using every piece of looseness I could. And for me, I needed the structure. And having that super loose of a freaking system, I was like abusing it. Never even got in trouble. Nobody was ever even like, "What's up with these lunches?" They just didn't say shit. But I did a good job while I was in there. But yeah, like I think my work ethic since getting sober has been like exponentially better. Just having the integrity. Like my where I work now, they leave at 3 and I'm there till 6. I could watch YouTube, I could leave and they wouldn't even know. But I don't. I still stay. I do my
Yeah.
job because I want to. Because, man, like if you start cutting corners, the urge gets stronger. Just like if you start stealing like $1 here, $1 there out of the till, then you're gonna steal
Hmm.
5. Then before you know it, you're stealing hundreds of dollars. And like, yeah,
Yeah, and it same works with like you relapse on alcohol and then suddenly you're back to, the harder shit.
whoa, whoa, whoa! This isn't a recovery podcast. Oh wait,
What?
I'm just kidding.
It is whatever we want it to be podcasts, all life podcasts.
Hey, I mean, recovery is all of life. It's not just drugs.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
it's not just quit doing drugs, your life gets better. Nah, nah.
I feel like everybody's kind of in recovery from themselves. Like I still stand by the idea of that our thoughts are all of our biggest drug, our ego. Like for every single person, even the person that's not what considered an addict, because we're all addicted to thinking. So we're all
Right.
kind of in spiritual recovery,
And you
you
think
know?
everybody's in a spiritual recovery?
Well, I mean, everybody could benefit from spiritual recovery.
Oh, for sure. That's like when we say everybody could use a program. Like when we come, like there's times where I've been in meetings where I'm like, I am so grateful that I got led here, even if it took my addiction, because I'm making steps to address me problems and kind of advancing in some areas, whereas some other people who may have never gone as deep and dark as I have aren't on the path to elevate either. You know?
Yeah, because like there's a part in one of Eckhart Tolle's books where he says that you don't get to the easiest way, or not the easiest way, but the people that go through spiritual awakening are ones that get to a point where it's just completely unbearable. That
Right.
they're basically are living through hell. So people that are, relatively content with their egos and stuff, they don't feel the need to go any further up. So they just stay where they're at. So kind of like with us addicts too, with that is we got to our rock bottom and then there was only up from there, but like way up, you know?
Hmm. Did you ever hear the phrase where it's something along the lines of, um, like, I think it's like a rose metaphor or something, where it's like you blossom when the pain to change is less than the pain it takes to stay the same, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've heard that. I
Yeah.
love that phrase.
I know I totally butchered it, but yeah, it's like you got to be ready. Like when I tried to get sober before, I was like half ready. I was like, I wanted to quit, but I wasn't willing to do what it took. And I wasn't willing to try new things. I was very convinced that my resentments were very valid. You know, the world didn't
Mm-hmm.
understand me. I was different. I believed it. You couldn't have told me any different. My present self could go back to my past self, and my past self would be like, "You don't get it, bro." You know, like. But then I don't know. I just hit a point where I was just desperate. I was just ready for something, and I was willing to be told. I don't know, even thinking in rehab, like they were trying to tell me some shit. Somebody gave me my counselor gave me a thing about a mask. Oh my god, I was so offended. He's just like, read this out loud. And it's just like, I wear a mask. I am fake. I hide myself from the world. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck, man? And I was
Just hiding
truly
even
like,
deeper.
yeah, I was truly offended. Like, well, I truly didn't believe it. And I still don't think it was fully accurate. You know, I don't feel like I was just this completely fake person, but I definitely could see kind of what he meant. You know, that I think I was just so my walls were up so hard that like I didn't even notice them anymore. They were just there. It wasn't like I was purposefully walled up. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's even scarier because then you're just so used to it you don't know. And then my one other counselor would always be like, "You need to check your ego. You need to." But this is back when I still thought ego meant arrogant or something like that. You know, it was cocky. That's like the only definition I had of ego. And I'm just like, what fucking ego, man? Like, I'm not doing anything. Like, I truly, when I was in rehab, I felt great. Like, I felt free, and I had no problems, no cravings, no urges, no withdrawals. I was just like hyper and happy to be alive. And they looked at that as, what are you hiding from us? I'm like, nothing. It's a great day. Like, I'm fucking grateful. Like, I don't know. I guess that's ego. But I was highly on autopilot mentally. So she was right, but I don't think she knew what she was right about. I don't know. Maybe she did.
Yeah. Um, so what was I gonna say? Crap, I need to cut this part out.
Yeah, I keep drifting off to my own shit. Nobody wants to hear that.
No, what do you mean nobody wants to hear that? You're sharing your experience.
My strength and my hope. Because I never shared my dope. uh, I sometimes though I'm just so grateful that I went down the path of mindfulness though. Like I just so like you were saying, people are on like a spiritual recovery, and I've looked around the rooms over the years. I've looked around people who are still out there, and they are so consumed by their story and their thoughts, and they're so consumed by their feelings and their impulses that, and then they're so resistant to like the basic principles of recovery, let alone anything deeper. And it's all ego. Like it's all them just so identified with their beliefs, thoughts, and the story they tell themselves. Like, I have a friend, he's so special, you know? He's just,
Yeah.
he doesn't need a sponsor, he doesn't need meetings, he has anxiety. You just don't get it. Like, dude, I get it. Like, I get it. Um, but I just know that feeling of being so consumed by thoughts that with no awareness that they're just a thought. Like if I had a thought in my head, if a voice or a word form thought went through my head, I believed it. That's me talking. That's me listening. That's There's no differentiation. You know what I mean? Like, that just is the ultimate truth. Boy, was I wrong.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people struggle. The ones that struggle with it are the ones that they are straight up identifying with being special. Like the whole thing, nobody gets me, I'm just like the worst, or, you know, I'm the biggest piece of shit, or um yeah, so like I don't need this, I don't need that. And so if they don't identify with that specialty, then they're afraid that they won't have anything else to identify with. There'll be that emptiness because the mind freaks out when it has nothing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all
Yep.
about just accepting that space as like inner peace. It's actually not bad.
Yeah, the mind wants to be special, wants to be right, and it wants to be in control. Just like there's been a few times, even with us the other day, we were texting about something, and I was like, we had like texted a few things, and it was when you were like, "Oh, I'm the one to speak on it," and I'm like, "Oh, whatever," and then later on, I'm like, "Wait a minute, hold up," and I could have like retorted with that, you know what I mean? Like, and
Wait,
I'm
what are
like,
you talking about?
we were texting about who was right about something, and then,
I don't remember that.
well, I'm not gonna get all into it, but later on, the point is, like, later on, I was like, hey, I could argue this further and say I was right, but then I'm like stopped, and I'm like, okay, what is the point of this? Like, it was an urge. It was like it wasn't a bad urge, but it was kind of like an impulse, and it wasn't a bad thing. It was like half jokey anyway, but still
Yeah.
the urge is there, and the urge is to be right. Even if it's a joke, I want to be right. It's still I want to be right, and there's a part of me that's like, I want to be right. Just like if you tell me something, I'm like, oh, I already know because I'm right, so I already knew that. You know what I mean? Like at work, your boss is like, hey, this, oh, I already know. Yeah, of course, yeah, I know that. It's like you need to be right. It took me a while to be like, oh, okay. And because if my boss tells me something I do already know, I'm going to want to express that I already know that so I look right, so I don't look dumb. But there's been times where they're just like, hey, this. And I'm like, oh, okay. Just to avoid conflict, or really, who cares? You know what I mean? It's going to avoid the conflict. It's going to get the show rolling quicker. And, I could identify with this loss or dumbness if I want to, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah, totally. I definitely struggle with I always have to make sure that people know that I already know everything. It's horrible. But I mean, working on it, obviously. We're trying to.
Yeah. I mean, it just depends on what kind of feelings it leaves with you. If it gives you a sense of, if it doesn't give you all the negative feelings, do your thing. But sometimes it's causes more trouble than it's worth. It's like 2 + 2 is 5. Got it.
No, it has definitely
Whatever you
made
say.
me it definitely makes me angry. Like, it used to make me very angry when like somebody would tell me of something I already knew, and it's like, you should already know that I knew this because I'm a fucking genius.
Right.
How come you ain't know that I'm a fucking genius by now? It was sick. It was so sick.
Or like there's even times where you and I speak bluntly to each other. You'll be like, "Oh, that's just your ego and you're just doing this." And the reason you'll come at it like so direct. You'll be like, "Well, the reason you do this is because you're broken inside and you're looking for like validation." And I'm like, okay, like part of me is I sometimes I'll read it and get a slight defensive wave, and I'm just like, hold up now. And then but then I stop and I'm just like, okay, well, I don't agree fully here, but I see what you're saying. And I'll take a look at that, because truthfully, that's what I should do. I shouldn't listen to
Right.
the quick defense. I shouldn't dismiss it. I should look at it, but I also don't need to take everything everyone says that they see as truth either. Like if I just tell you something that you truly don't feel, I mean, I could be wrong. It's not often, but sometimes I am, you know, very rarely, kind of.
No, like I'm the same way. Every time you say something, there's been times that I've also felt to get defensive, but I right away just stop and think. But I don't know if it's because I just always like, because I used to struggle with people telling me like, hey, you're doing this wrong, like you suck. And it's like, oh yeah, I kind of suck. But that's like from my childhood trauma and all that shit. But
Right.
yeah, maybe that's why I don't struggle with it as bad. Like I can take criticism, but there's like that boundary, that like fine line between, being able to take criticism and then letting people talk like shit to you.
Right.
But I don't really like, I don't know.
I was just kind of talking about that today in the refuge meeting. That's what I meant. I'm just like, well, I have this friend that we're because a lot of it was about um, rigorous honesty, but it also was talking about timing, delivery, and kindness. Like, yes, telling someone the blunt truth is honest, but it could also be offensive or unskillful in the delivery or
Yeah.
timing. If I tell you something bluntly honest in front of a group of people, that may not go as well if I pulled you to the side and said it directly, but mindful of the sting, you know. Anyway, I was like, yeah, I got this friend. We are just like very blunt with each other. I was like, I appreciate it. I feel like it's coming from a place of love from both of us. It's coming from a place of wanting the other to do better rather than, oh, I see something wrong with you and I want to point it out. Like, it's never that. It's because, like, what am I your friend because I hurt your feelings trying to help you? Or am I your friend because I consider your feelings first? Don't say anything that may pierce your delicate soul and just watch you trip over and over. You know what I mean? Like, that's, is that a friend? You know?
Yeah, definitely like a real friend will tell you exactly how it is.
Yeah, delicately. I mean, delicate. Just be gentle, you know?
Am I not
But be
gentle
real.
enough for you?
I mean, sometimes you get a little rough, but I like it. No,
Okay.
it's sometimes sometimes it may be better, and this would be constructive criticism. Sometimes it might be better to be like, have you considered this? I might be seeing a little bit of that instead of, you are this. This is what you're doing.
No, no.
Like, I don't take offense. Like, I've never gotten mad at you or anything. But
I know exactly what you mean. And I am like fully like, I just want to apologize first of all. Because see, this is how everything I do, everything all of us do is from the way we were raised. And so this has been implanted into me on how to like talk to people, on how to, tell them what's up, was like that because that's how I've been told. And I've completely lost like awareness with, or I never even considered that as a thing that was problematic for anybody. So I really appreciate that because that is something I really need to not do. And
yeah, I like I said, I don't mind. But I mean, if you're talking to a normal person, like your boyfriend or a friend who's not
Normal
as mindful,
person.
or yeah, I mean, there's some out there.
You think you're
But
just so
like
fucking special above normal, huh? Just kidding.
I'm abnormal for sure. But no, I mean, if you're talking to someone who's not used to this, who's not as self-reflective, who's not as able to, piece it apart, and they're gonna just react, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, they may take that a different way. So like, but I'm here to tell you too, they're gonna take anything you say. There's no way to deliver the truth. You know what I
Right.
mean? You like, with my ex, I would literally be like, okay, I can't tell you bluntly what I'm thinking. So let me try to sugarcoat slash ease it in, but still get the point across. No matter what, it was always a fight. Like I could be so like delicate. I could be like, maybe it's this. I could be like, look, I'm not saying this, but maybe this. What the fuck you saying?
Yeah.
Well, shit. So that's why I appreciate the bluntness, because like, one, I want to be able to hear that type of stuff and respond appropriately, but also like sometimes I just need to hear it. And I feel like it's more of a strength to admit a weakness than it is a weakness to deny a strength, or to deny the weakness.
Oh yeah, totally.
Like my real hard guy friends are like some of the most emotional people I know. Like they're just ruffled by everything. Everything comes out as anger, but a lot of it's offended or hurt or, something.
Mm-hmm.
But they're so hard and they're so tough and they have no flaws. And it makes them look like idiots sometimes.
Yeah, that's how my stepdad is. Like, it's like he's a good person and everything. I'm not trying to talk shit at all, but he's just so identified with being like a Trump winker that it's
Mm.
like anything that like, and I don't know, I'm just kind of a sadist sometimes, and I love pushing people's buttons, and I'll just fucking start like saying something and how much I love the governor. And even though I don't, because I don't care about anything that's politics related, because it's all equally stupid for me, and he'll just like flip right out. And it's,
I think we've talked about this before.
we have, okay,
Yeah.
we don't have to keep talking about it.
Because, no, we could talk about it. I'm just saying, I don't think it was like on the air or anything. Because I remember saying, like, are you just trying to start shit then? Because if you don't care and you know it's going to upset them and you're bringing it up, why are you doing that?
I don't remember you saying that to me, but that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, I just like starting
It'd be
shit.
like, babe, I know if I bring up your eyebrows right now, you're going to get pissed. I don't think anything's weird about your eyebrows, but I'm just going to be like, babe, what's up with them eyebrows? The fuck's wrong with my eyebrows? You know what I mean, though? Like, you just investigate that. You don't have to do it right now. I'm not trying to call you out. Just investigate that.
Little baby steps. Because I can't really investigate everything at once. Like, there's just a lot throughout the day. I can only,
Yeah.
I'll pick like a part of myself that I'll investigate throughout the day. And then it's like I get better at that. So then I move on to the next thing. But now the ultimate problem is when everything seems like it should be fine in my mind, that's how the ego sneaks through the back door, and I'll watch these videos, and I'll hear you talk sense into me, and just like knowing that, oh, I can't control the ego, oh, I can't kill the ego, oh, I have to just accept the moment, I have to stop resisting, blah blah blah. And all those things will just start circling, making rounds in my head in the moment, and I'll literally just be like sitting there and not thinking of anything, and then all of a sudden it's just that circle of just bullshit in my head. It'll just be making like rounds, and then with that, I literally drive myself into like almost depression like state, because I'm like, wow, with all this knowledge, with all this blah blah blah, with all these forms, with all these identifications, I am still not where I should be. And I get like super depressed, like, what the fuck, are you serious? And then once again, I get back to my senses, and it's like, oh, I'm back into my ego again. I'm back into, oh, I should be here. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, and it's such it just slips so quick.
Right.
And
Well, where should you be though?
there's the addict again that's like, well, I always want to feel good. And what is feeling good? Isn't a constant state of awareness. I should always be in a constant state of awareness.
So you're not thinking of the impermanence of joy, presence, peace, comfort, sadness, anger, discontent. We're never going to get to a steady place and just stay there, no matter what. Like, I don't even know if I believe these guys who try to front like Deepak and Eckhart Tolle and all these people, like they just get to this state of zen where they feel overwhelming bliss all day every day and nothing bothers them and they're just nah. Like
Yeah.
they're nah. You're human. You're tired sometimes. I'm sure you're cranky. I'm sure there's times you think, fuck that guy. You know what I mean? You just don't say it. Like, you're not going to go hang around with toxic, lying, manipulators all the time and just be in this Zen peace like we are all one. And that's cool. But I just feel like I got this false sense of, there's times where I'm like, why am I not joyful? Why do I never feel like, yes? You know what I mean? Like, I'll even see
Mm-hmm.
you have waves of joy, and sometimes I'm in a solid state of contentment most of the time. I am happy. I'm just not like lit up. You know what I mean? I hardly ever am really, and sometimes but I'm also never like super sunk low either, and maybe I have like little spurts of true like bliss joy of like a really good movie's out or I have like a really good moment with my kid or we have a good meeting, but it's not like I'm just walking on sunshine with a psycho smile on my face all day.
You're not.
I mean, I try my best to hide it, but yeah, I mean we're never gonna get, and then where are you supposed to be? Like, you're not supposed to be anywhere. You're supposed to be right here, right now. And that can be enough. I could look at my life and be like, man, I could have quit doing drugs earlier and I could or would be here. Oh, with my music, I should be there. With my family, I should be here. Even with my recovery, like I was on a steady progression in my first year and then kind of plateaued for a while, sunk back down a little bit, had to rework on some old things, went back up. Now I feel like I'm somewhere in the middle of my highest point and my lowest point. Maybe more towards the top, but definitely not higher than my highest point. And that's okay. Like, I can't look at that at like, man, is this it? Like, maybe I don't feel as exuberated like as I did at my highest point, but I bet consistency wise across all of the factors, they're more balanced, you know?
Yeah.
like I even remember at one of my high points, um, I was still very thrown off by my moods. Like somebody, we were going somewhere one day, somebody made like a joke. It wasn't that big of a deal. Fucking killed my vibe for the whole day. And here I am, we're on a bus somewhere, we're going somewhere for the day, this big recovery adventure. It was supposed to be a great day. I started off feeling great. I was sassy and I was, you know, comfortable and in the moment. And just soon as somebody said something, that, I mean, people give me my sass right back, you know, and then little sensitive me can't take it all the time. And then it's like, well, fuck, my whole day's ruined. This was supposed to be a great day, or like, it's my birthday. I'm supposed to feel good today. Like, oh, I'm going on a trip this weekend. I want it to be one of my good days or one of my best energetic days. And if it's not holding up to this expectation, it sucks and it brings like a big weight on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Wednesday at work, I was super social, energetic, you know, just sassy, quick witted, everything. But then come Friday, when I'm hanging out with people that I've been looking forward to, is one of my meh days. And then maybe it was just a meh moment, but since I'm supposed to feel good today, and I want to be primed today, and you know, I got in my head already because of my meh. Now it's just going to stretch to the whole day. And I've noticed since I've become aware of this that like I could start off with a meh day and just say, "Hey, I'm just not the life of the party today. I'm just I'm just here and that's fine." And then it develops and I kind of snap into it. And it may not be like the best day ever, but I'm content and it's better than if I, you know, but boy, that shit hit me hard in the beginning. I was
Yeah, it's just all about like acceptance, like accepting the moment, accepting the way you feel, accepting your thoughts, accepting your ego, and just not trying to do anything, not trying to make yourself feel a certain way, and not trying to think a certain way.
yeah.
It's just so, our egos try to make it seem so much more complicated than it actually is. And it's just so simple that it might just be too simple for the ego to handle. And so it tries to create some shit and just like around it. Like, oh no, there's no way it's like that, you know?
Right. Especially once you become an adult. Like when you're a kid, you're just going with the flow. Everything's new. You don't have a whole lot to compare it to. You accept things way better. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether you have a shitty situation or not, you still have a basic, like, automatic acceptance. You know, you start hanging out as teenagers with your buddies. You know, you just start you're in the moment, you're doing things, you're engaged, and you're going where you want to go and where you're drawn. And you know, you have less judgments on yourself because, you know, if you're mad, you just be mad. If you're, oh, I like this boy, I'm going, you know, with him. And, you know, you just kind of go. And then when you become an adult, it's almost like, okay, now it's serious. I have, you know, now going into this relationship, I have 5 other relationships to compare it to automatically. Um, I want to avoid pain that I felt in some of those, so I have to navigate how I am here or avoid it altogether. You know what I mean? Like there's so much. It's not as free as it should be, and most of that is our mental conditioning. Like it just fucks everything up. Like if we were just in the moment, not thinking, is this someone I'm gonna marry in 20 years? Like I just met you, you know, or
Yeah.
oh, are you gonna, if I tell you I love you when I feel like I'm feeling it, you know, are you gonna hurt me like so and so did 10 years ago? Yeah, it's tricky.
It's almost like, it's like the perfectionism of the mind. you you know like perfectionism with trying to make things like tangible things perfect around you, but then now it's like it's shifting from that to perfectionism of thoughts, of the way things are inside your head. You want to make sure that you're thinking a certain way and looking at things a certain way and feeling a certain way, which is just always feeling good and not really thinking, which means like thinking like you want to. Um, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Like, what is perfectionism anyway?
It
If you described your perfect life, the perfect house, the perfect situation, perfect job, perfect car, right now, you would hit a point where you would want something else.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, that's why billionaires are still obsessed with power and money. My whole life, like, I see people with this massive amounts of money. I've always been literally, I've never been like poor, poor, but I've never been well off. My family, me, nothing. I've had moments where I've had some cash, but never just a steady flow where like I'm great. So I think I have that mental barrier that I'm stuck here, but that's a different thing. But I've always watched from the outside people who have more than enough money to live the rest of their life still want more. Why? But like obsess over more. Just like Trump, for example. Nothing to do with him as a president. He's rich as fuck,
Mhm.
but that's not enough. He wants the power of a presidency. And he got that. Now that's, I feel like, to a degree, and I don't watch him a lot, but I bet to a degree he wants more than that. You know what I mean? He wants like an epic stamp on this world. You know, whether that's setting up something bigger, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all ego.